Good afternoon, everyone. Just still waiting for everybody to settle down. I think I've got another minute before my time starts, so take it easy. Birju has helped me to rush through the thing. We are there. So 12:30 sharp on time. अरे नहीं भाई, बाकी लोगों ने बोलना है. हाँ, is it okay? हाँ, go ahead. Thank you. So thanks Birju for introducing me. That's wonderful and good to have him as the curator. The second time I'm here speaking. So first time also I'm always in a rush and he always helps me to get with that. So as he said that I'm going to be talking on decarbonizing. I've sort of elaborated the topic even further because when I gave the topic to the team here, it was about 2.5-3 months back when we were supposed to meet in January. But after that, I've just elaborated further and said that decarbonizing Indian construction industry through net zero energy buildings. Of course, HVAC comes into the picture because most of the power consumption is with the HVAC systems only. You know, we are growing. We are one of the fastest growing countries in the world in terms of population. So I just want to correct that, and very soon we'll be number one here also. Just like we are number at a lot of places. On a serious note, I think there's a lot of construction activity we are seeing, and that's primarily on account of the urbanization that is taking place. The rate of urbanization that is going is very high. By another decade, we'll be about 40% urbanized, and to meet that demand, we would be constructing close to about what we say one Chicago a year. This is what our leaders have said, this is what the projections are saying, and this is what you're seeing in the real estate industry when you go around and look at the amount of construction that takes place. Plenty of opportunities for the people, and of course, on top everywhere sits the HVAC industry for a very simple reason. We are the largest energy consumers there. If you look at from a carbon perspective, because today the buzzword is no more green, no more sustainability, all that has become old. Every 2 years, 3 years, we have to come out with a new term. So the new term is now carbon, because our Honorable Prime Minister Ji has gone and COP26 declared India is going to be carbon neutral by 2070, which is a big thing. If you look at what the construction industry contributes in terms of carbon emission, which is about 40% of the total emissions in the world come from the construction industry itself. Right from the design stage, which is designed in the construction stage, to the life cycle of the building when you are operating it, to a point where it gets demolished, everywhere there are carbon emissions which are there. And that's why the concept, again, I'm not getting into the detail because in 15 minutes, I wouldn't get into this topic too much. But when we talk about embodied carbon, these are the words that come in. Most of us, especially from the electromechanical industry, are yet to wake up to the fact what would the decarbonization mean for us. What is it in store? What is in store? Please come, Mr. Curator. So we need you here. So what is in store for us going forward? But look at it. If 140 countries today have already signed what we say the decarbonization pact, or going to be the promise to be decarbonized by 2070, we have to be there. Look at it from the right. We are one of the last ones who have committed 2070. Rest, all of them will get decarbonized much earlier. And when we say decarbonize, that means we are talking of whatever the carbon emissions you do, whether from the construction, whether from the design, whatever it is, or from the operation, that needs to be neutralized. Again, not getting into it. Now, where does that impact us as electromechanical or as construction industry people? Because the target that we have today is what we speak about. Oh, I've got another 5 minutes now gained, so I can go a little slow. So by what it says is that by 2030, first, the thing that you need to see, by 2030, what our Honorable Prime Minister said was that 50% of the energy that we produce in India will come from renewable sources. 50% by 2030, and 2030 is 7.5 years from today. That means it happens right as we are staring at it, is happening, and it will happen in a lifetime. Now, when it comes to 50%, how is it going to happen? It's going to happen through us, and that is where the statutes are going to change. The government is going to insist more and more that the building industry, which is one of the largest contributor in terms of the energy consumption, takes care of this. And that is where the net zero energy buildings will start coming into the picture. Because as we go towards the renewable, we see that. Now I'll tell you the proof of the pudding. I chaired this. We are honored to have Shah Saab here. He's the aviation man of India. So thank you, sir, for joining. So coming back here, the proof I can tell you how and why is this happening is, at the Indian Green Building Council, I had the opportunity to chair the net zero energy rating system. When we created this in 2018, from 2018 till 2020, we had only 10 projects which are registered with us. From 2021 to 2022, since the time our Honorable Prime Minister went and made a declaration, 70 projects have got registered. 7-fold increase in 1 year. And this number is all set to go at an exponential pace. Why? Because the statutes are coming this way, the renewable is becoming cheaper, and that is where the whole focus is going to come on us as the electromechanical industry. Primarily, when you go carbon free, when we speak about, one of the prime things that you can see here is our net zero energy buildings which come into it. Of course, it will mean more. It will mean net zero water, net zero waste, and lots of other things. Everything where we are getting affected. But at the end of the day, the net zero energy is the key word. And that's why I introduced this, because just saying good HVAC solution is not going to take us, because what is the objective at the end of the day? We need to see that too. The green footprint today, we have had 2 decades of the green building movement. Right from 2001, when we started the green building movement in India, till now 2022, where we are, we have seen a lot. But all along, the green building movement have been focused on what we say the design part of it. Always been the design. What is it that you shouldn't design? How efficient your equipment should be, how efficient your systems should be. That's where we have stopped. But when you enter into the net zero world, it is not about design, it is about performance. And this is where the game changer is going to happen. The last 2 decades of the green movement have told us a lot on the interrelationships that we have with the architects or with the design companies in terms of doing a high performance buildings. We all understand the importance of building form. I think we've spoken to so much has been spoken on that in terms of the orientations, what is the shading devices, what is the daylighting, importance of daylighting, window wall ratios, and our codes and standards in 2 decades have evolved. If you look at the ECBC, we are one of those countries to have energy code, a developing country to have an energy code, which is a big thing, guys. Having that, and all of this is well covered there. So it's very, very evolved. We all understand the importance of building envelope. The insulation is a big thing. It's coming in, the ECBC, ECBC Plus, ECBC Super. I think it's all around, and the compliances are being asked for any large project by the environmental authorities. We are fortunate to have good product ranges available to us. We all understand the motor efficiency. We talk of IE4s, we talk of fan coil units, the BLDC motors, AHU BLDC motors, EC fans. I think we have seen the technology change, and all with respect to, again and again I'm saying, with respect to design and with respect to product. Nowhere we have talked about the system's performance till now. We have always spoken about equipment efficiencies, individual efficiencies, and that's where the whole movement is shifting. So not getting into it, I think you've seen the pumps, you've seen the cooling towers, everything has evolved in a way which is very, very big. There are a lot of new systems, new things that we see in terms of people trying out water side economizers and HVAC systems. Again, not getting into detail, I think this is where air side economizer, geothermal coolings have been tried out here in India. We have seen people trying out series counterflow arrangements on the chiller range. We have done it all. But at the end of the day, still it remains as individuals only. Now, if you look at what the green building impact had on our HVAC industry, equipment efficiencies are now the key. Whenever we are buying a chiller, whenever we are buying a VRF, we are always saying COP kitna hai. It's like, kitna mileage deti hai gaadi. Similarly, we ask, kitna COP hai. That's our first question. कोई भी फैन का मैन्युफैक्चरर हमारे पास आता है, कितनी एफिशिएंसी है फैन की. कोई मोटर वाला आता है तो कितनी एफिशिएंसी है मोटर की. This is what we talk now. see the focus. Focus is on individual efficiency of the equipment, because this is what the codes and standards have pushed us. Energy efficiency is a buzzword. We have world-class products. The reason is India is a favorite market when it comes from European manufacturers, American manufacturers, Middle East, you talk about it, Southeast Asia, all of them are lined up here for this. Refrigerants, we all talk of green refrigerants. The world's best refrigerants are coming in here. We are partner to those. Equipment certification, gone are the days when you buy an equipment without certification. Now, the certification agencies, whether it's HRI, Eurovent, Indian agencies, all of them lined up. And we all understand the importance of the certification of product, because that brings the products on a common platform and you can compare them rightly. So there's a lot of work which has happened in 2 decades in this area. But as I said, as we shift to the net zero energy building, the game changer has begun now. I talk at many forums and I said next 7 years are crucial. You will wait and watch, because if we have to decarbonize by 2070, the way that we are designing things, the way we are approaching things is going to change. In net zero energy, the biggest key is, if you take a conventional building which has a base of the triangle, that's the energy consumption base of a building, the triangle is big. And if you have to go to net zero, your triangle has to reduce. That means the base has to reach here, somewhere here. Basically, when we optimize using passive measures, active measures, we are able to bring the energy consumption down to this level for the same building. And this is where you apply renewable. What we get it wrong is, people say take any building, put a renewable and you got a net zero, is not the way it works. And this is where the HVAC people become the key and what happens here. If you look at our rating systems, which is there for from US, from India, all of them, the fundamental of a net zero rating system is efficiency. In IGBC rating system, if you want to be a net zero, yes, you can put renewable and you can be net zero. But if you want to be net zero platinum, out of 100 points, 70 points are on energy efficiency. 30% points are on the renewable. That means unless you are efficient, you are way too efficient, the system doesn't recognize you as a true net zero energy building. And all of that comes down to Hvac engineers here, because we are contributing to 40%, 45% power consumption in the building. So going forward, I think the whole approach is going to shift on total system design, energy efficient design. Some of the things that are tools available to us, to the HVAC community, to the MEP design community, are digital twins. I think you should look at that. Digital twins for making decisions, design decisions. In this example, I'm showing you, we had a building which is about 1800 tons of air conditioning, good building. It's not a bad building at all, but 1800 tons of air conditioning. Theoretically, this building can go down to half the air conditioning load, about 1100 tons. You can see at the bottom, 1100 tons. The EPI can reduce down to by nearly about 40% EPI reduction can happen. But where does the cost efficiency lies? This is what the energy modeling tools help you to determine. Again, the intent is not to get deep into it. Those are different topics. We have also seen the existing building doing what we say calibrated energy models. In the calibrated energy model, you prepare a digital twin of a building which is in operation, create a virtual model of it, which is identical in operation as compared to what the actual building is. And then you can test the virtual model, you can try out your ideas, and whichever idea gives you the maximum return on investment, you go and implement. And this is what has been done here. A lot of ideas were tried out on this, and finally, when we looked at it, we had a potential to come down on an existing building by 300 tons. And the ones that are in green are the ones selected. Ones which are in black were not taken because they are not giving the return on the investment. So this is how the decisions are being taken on existing buildings also. Architect wanted to check the envelope, engineer wanted to check the chiller, the owner wanted to check the facade. All of them could be checked before we did that. Even looking at the performance of the building, indoor air quality is a big business today. Validating the performance, there are enough tools available, like tools like Contam and all are available, which help you which tell you exactly how your building is going to behave after it is completed. So this is what we are trying out here. What happened in this project was, if you want to have a good indoor air quality, you have to make sure that you are a positive pressure compared to the outside, so that the outside air doesn't come in. The air pressure relationships, that means the amount of fresh air being injected, becomes the key, and that is what is being tested here to get what you see here, exfiltration as a design rather than infiltration happening into the building. We need to go beyond. I think this is not where the HVAC engineers or the electromechanical industry can stop. We have solutions like the mixed mode ventilations being done. India it's a fantastic country. We keep saying we are a hot country. We keep saying we are a warm country. It's wrong. We get 2 months, 3 months of hot season or warm season. Pune, air-conditioned city. Delhi, a very good city for a climate. Bangalore, fantastic city. But what we do, we just air-condition the whole building. Now the things are changing. We see, wow, now the whole facade's opening up. We say, take the outside air in and run with the natural cooling. If you have a problem, run a little bit of fan. If you still have a problem, maybe inject 10% of cold air and circulate that. And if you really have a problem, which is for 2 to 3 months in a year, that's where you get into what we call a fully air-conditioned operations. Why? Because it cuts down your energy bill, and that's what brings you closer to the net zero operations. Things like these HVLS fans being tried out. I tried out at my own office. We today maintain at my own office a temperature of 27 degrees, and I've got these giant fans which are cooling the space. The people's body is being confused because when we run at 27 degrees with these fans, it feels like 24 degrees. Airside economizer cycle. The evaporative cooling is making a comeback. Ask these people, because people are saying, why don't we go to the evaporative cooling? The double stage evaporative cooling can give you a long hours of cooling without requiring any compressor based systems, and is far cheaper. So everything is being changed. Even the energy water nexus is coming in. Now we have always believed that water cooled chiller laga do, energy consumption kam ho gaya, but we forget pani kahan hai. And we end up taking water from here and there. Nobody is looking at the full picture. Moment you start looking at the full picture, the things are different. Now the hybrid systems, which were very much in vogue in the southern states of India, are now making an entry even in the northern and the western states, for the very simple reason, in the evening hours, in the night time, in the not so warm seasons, the air cooled chillers work very well. You have to see how much of water is available to you on site and try to do a balance. And this is what the energy water nexus is, a big thing we are looking at. I'll leave this one. Finally, the last topic which is of importance is the IEQ, indoor environmental quality, because while we are doing all of these nice buildings, high performance buildings, we are doing the buildings for the people. And today, indoor environmental quality is another big topic which comes down to the Hvac engineers to look at. Thermal comfort, indoor air quality, acoustics, lighting, all of this are electromechanical issues. ISHRAE currently has a standard called IEQ ISHRAE 10001. I again had the fortunate to chair the standard. We created 3 levels there, A, B, C and level. A, B and C levels. A is an aspirational building, B is a good building, and C is what we say minimum requirement. And for, let's say, the indoor air quality, we came out with the parameters. What should the concentration of each of the parameters be for a class A building, class B building, class C building. Similarly for thermal comfort, similarly for other things which is out there. These standards have been referred now with the IGBC in the health and well-being rating system. Similarly, when you go to the USGBC, they also have a well rating system where these parameters are coming in. And everywhere, the HVAC engineers, the electromechanical team is prime there. Last, not the least, is the monitoring. IoT and AI are coming. All our systems, as I said, we have to move to performance-based design. Moment we move to performance-based design, IoT and AI are a reality. Again, our industry is still waking up to that. We have had people come up, youngsters come up, not from our industry, coming and saying, sir, we would like to explain to you what IoT and AI is doing and what it can do for your industry. Again, not getting into the details. There are metrics which define the performances of the building. EUI, EPI, and now going forward, it is also going to be the embodied and the operational carbon indexes which are going to become a key. You know, the ECBC that we refer to? Today, ECBC talks about energy. That ECBC is currently being rewritten to link energy and carbon. So your new version of ECBC is going to have a carbon emissions linked to that. So what is your design with respect to the carbon footprint is also going to become a reality now, is coming. There are labeling programs which are running. In India, we have a star labeling program for the building. We have never bothered about it, but it's very much there. US has it, Europe has it, and all of those are linked. Primarily the electromechanical people drive this. ISHRE has got into building energy performance standard called iBEEPS, we call it. We are creating indexes for you to validate or check the performance of the subsystems in the building. Today, when you talk of EPI, you talk of the total energy consumption. How do you know how efficient a HVAC system is? How do you know how efficient a plumbing system is? Plumbing is a completely forgotten industry. Sorry, Sandeep, but in terms of what it can do, not that I say you are plumbing only, but how does it perform? What is the number we are talking of that should be assigned to elevators? What is the number we should assign to the other things? So the iBEEPS is currently working on coming out with the performance parameters or indexes by which you can check the efficiency of HVAC, electrical, plumbing, elevators, facade, and all of it. So you'll be able to see how the subsystems of your building are performing and what they can do. So that's my last slide, because the trends in sustainability now go beyond. I think the HVAC engineers and the electromechanical engineers have a much larger role to play going forward, because we are becoming not design, we are becoming what we say operations. Energy, water, waste, carbon, resiliency are the topic that we'll be talking more and more. All the systems that we'll design will have to look at this, interrelationships of all of this. It is not enough that HVAC engineer gets up and say, my system is optimized. Doesn't work. The interrelationships of it, and that's where there are rating systems which are there, which are going to be referred, and that's where the future is. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Dada, aage aa jao. Okay.
So you emphasize upon two things, which is IoT and AI, and operations is going to be the key. So my question is specific to the residential type of projects. When you talk about a residential type of a project, we as a developer, we build it, we commission it, and we move out of it at some point of time.
Sure.
When we are holding a commercial asset, it's our complete team which is engaged and looks after day-to-day operations, because we need to take care of our clients. But how would you see that in terms of a challenge? Because at some point of time in a residential project, when you want to move out, how a condominium is ready to adopt these things?
I'll take it even further. We always keep saying that green buildings don't perform right. Whether it's condominiums or you take a commercial building also, platinum rated building behaves like a red building. Why? Because our focus has always been on design certifications. If you look at your green rating systems, it ends there. When you move to carbon, because everything has to be carbon neutral tomorrow, and carbon neutrality is linked to the operation of the building, whether it is energy. Okay, it all comes down to energy at the end of the day. So if you look at the energy numbers, suppose there's a mandate now from the government that you have to become carbon neutral, your building has to remain carbon neutral, which is a target that you have. The whole focus is on operations now. So whether it's the RWA is running it, whether it's the owner running it, we are all going to be concerned not on the design part, it's on the operation part. In fact, now I'm saying differently. You heard of EPC contracts. In the EPC contract, what's happening? A contractor comes, it does the design and build and hands it over. We have created the buildings at a fast speed. But what about the performance of the buildings? We are never even worried about it. Nobody knows how the airport Shah Sahab is designing, how do they perform, or the buildings, the mega structures we are designing, how do they perform? That will change. The next tender that you'll get from government going forward very soon is going to be, they will say EPI of this, WPI, water efficiency of this, carbon footprint reduction by this much. They're going to give you those numbers. 4 or 5 lines is what your tender is going to be. Now that construction company has to get a contract, has to take a designer, they have to construct the building, they have to operate the building, they have to prove the performance and then hand over the building. So the whole shift is now going to be towards how you operate. A very well designed building, a brilliantly designed building and poorly operated will give you the worst results. And a very poorly designed building, very well operated, can still give you an optimal result. So that's where the whole thing is.
Yeah, I fully agree. But the only thing is the latter half of the question, which was where once I have already handed over the building to the condominium, would they be competitive enough to
They
run
don't have a
those
choice
operations?
because let's say the star label. Okay, let me just put a simple thing because not making star labeling of the building. We all understand 5-star is better and 1-star is not so good. 5-star comes to you from a certain energy number. Now tomorrow when you're sending your condominium or residential project, it'll have a star label on it. This project is designed for 5-star performance. You've proven that performance before handing over. For 4 years, 5 years, you did that thing, you proved it, those numbers are there, is given. It carries a 5-star label there. There are yearly audits which are taking place. So when that audits have to take place, whoever takes over from you will jolly well have to do it because that's a statute. It is not a luxury, it's not a voluntary system anymore, it's a statute. So that's where the things are changing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ji sir. Shah sir, yeah, then we'll come to you.
Thank you, Ashish. It's a great knowledge to me that things are happening into a like conventional air cooling system. I just want to ask you that what are the challenges which you feeling in the market when you're talking about purely on the non-conventional air cooling system than the purely as an air conditioned building, and anything been tried on a large a project like this where there is a response that instead of doing the air conditioning we do non-conventional air cooling system?
I will give you some my own, and I'll be honest, it requires a mindset change. That's where the biggest challenge we are facing. Mindset from not only you and I as a designer, of course at the end of that the users and also the owners also. The biggest problem has been when you give a concept of this, like we are doing a school here in Pune, where we said, why don't you open up the windows? 10 months in a year, you don't require air conditioning in Pune. It's a well-known fact. Just the fan is enough. In a school where there are children, why do you want an air-conditioned system to be running there? The first objection came from the owner. The second objection came from the architect. The third objection came from my own colleagues. So everybody, there is a challenge because there's a mindset. For last 3 decades, we have been told air conditioning, air conditioning, air conditioning. So that's the first thing that we have to overcome. Now the best thing came when I was designing this Jewar airport, Noida airport. I gave the same. So the architects there were from Norway, and they said, Ashish, why don't you look at an aspect where we don't need to run compressor-based cooling? And I started justifying to them why are they wrong. They looked at me. I said, I still remember. I said, look, our air quality is very poor. You don't expect that I'm going to dump the PM 2.5 air of 500 microgram per cubic meter into my terminal building. And I don't think what you're saying is right. He looked at my face and says, is this how India is going to stay forever? This building is here for next 50 years. Are you telling me that for next 50 years you're not going to improve your environment? I was speechless at that point. And that building, that airport is being designed to run on free cooling. On free cooling. I changed my design. I'm designing it for a free cooling, and to my surprise, yes, I can run it. Airports run round the year, round the clock, in the night also. Delhi gets beautiful temperatures in the night. My thermal comfort is so what happened was today we always used to think about 22 degrees as a temperature. If I think 27 degrees as a temperature and run a fan, HVLS fan, which is running at all the airports, 27 is, the free cooling is good enough. So it requires a thought process change. And I'm also one of the guilty ones because I was arguing. So somebody was telling me that you're wrong. I was arguing that no, my design is right. How can you tell me I'm the hotshot of the country and you're telling me I'm designing wrong? So on a serious note, I think this requires a mindset change, sir. Technologies are very much there. In fact, I was reading one of the articles which said the decarbonization that we are talking about it, 90% of the technology exists today in the market. We already have the technology. It's about question of applying it to it.
Another small question is that, about the embodied energy. which is being consumed into the technology to the conventional technology, do you make a difference in rating and the procedural
Brilliant point,
aspects?
sir. Unfortunately, sir, what is happening is today, if you look at the carbon emissions, when we talk about the carbon neutrality, there are 4-5 aspects of it. The first comes down to energy. 30% of our carbon footprint can be cut down, nearly 30%, if we do renewable energy, right? So that's where people are focusing right now, and that's where the net zero energy building comes in, because this time was short, so I didn't go into it. Normally I run for about an hour on this presentation to explain the concepts. The water efficiency will come in, which is already being talked about. That's also cuts down the carbon emission. Waste comes into the picture. The concept of cradle to grave is gone now. Cradle to cradle concept comes in, the embodied energy, what you're talking about. All of that comes into the picture. Materials is where we are most grey currently. Because there is a lot of work that needs to be done in that. Okay, the fourth was mobility in terms of these fuel vehicles, those petroleum product vehicles which are there, which also government is changing. By 2030, 30% of our four-wheelers will be EV, 100% of our two-wheelers is going to be EV. So that's all happening. Only materials where the grey area is. And that's where the work will happen. And there is still work needs to be done. I remember at SPA, Dr. Paul and all started this, talking about this concept 10 years back, and I looked at it and I said, kya baatein kar rahe ho aap? But today, I think we need that institutes to come forward and research, and you are one of the biggest teachers in India. So we need institutes to do this work and come out. I just want to give you one example. Day for yesterday, before I came here, there was an aluminum profile guy which came to my office. I won't name the product. He came to my office and he said, "Sir, I've got a great product." I looked at the face and said, "Kya great hai bhai tumhare paas aisa?" He said that I have a product, aluminum profile, where a typical profile, an average carbon emissions, he didn't talk about price, he didn't talk about anything. Our average carbon emissions are 80 kilogram of CO2 emissions while making the product. My product has been made at 10 kilograms of CO2 emissions. He says 1.5 years back we have launched this product. Already we have 30 projects registered, are taking this. We are running at full capacity right now. The demand for low carbon products is coming. So whether it's HU, whether it's a profile, whether it's a glass, whether it's a steel, everything is going to see that shift. And that shift will take a little time because that understanding will need to come in. But rest of it, net zeros are happening and very fast getting implemented. I gave you that example before we came in. In IGBC today, when I launched the IGBC rating system in 2018, we had from 18 till 20, 2018 to 2020, we had only 10 projects which got registered or which got certified. 2021 to 22, there are 70 projects that have come in. One after another projects are coming inside that. And because this is where the whole shift is going. And energy efficiency is the key. The collaboration of the design is the key, because all said and done, whatever we have done now, we have lived in silos still. आप आज भी साइलो में डिजाइन करते हैं, मैं आज भी साइलो में डिजाइन करता हूँ, बात करते हैं, लेकिन जैसी परफॉर्मेंस पे आ जाएगी सारी बात, तो वो तो चॉइस ही नहीं बतेगी. कल जब आप एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी के पास जाएंगे, कहेंगे मेरा एयरपोर्ट इतने किलोवाट पर स्क्वायर मीटर पर ईयर पे डिजाइन है, and somebody else comes and says मेरा इतने पे डिजाइन है, the choice is going to be made on that basis, not on the basis just of how it appears. So that shift is coming, sir. Sorry, Ji.
Thanks, Ashish. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Just two small questions that I have.
Ji.
I know the answer will be short and sweet.
Okay.
You said that the government contracts in future are going to be more related with performance criteria rather than the quantification. How is the government looking at creating infrastructure that can reduce cost of producing what you call amenities and facilities in terms of district cooling, to be precise, because that's a major load that you normally have in different parts of the country. Are they working on something like that, so which will help you reduce your overall energy
I'll give you straight away answers because time is short. So there is a body called EESL, Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which are doing, which came out with a prototype of 3 district cooling systems. One was GIFT City, second one was Thane here, right here, and the third one was Rajkot. Rajkot is not going through. They came in collaboration with the developers. They did that. It is being done. We are also seeing a shift in which now the residential projects are going on a cooling system. We are seeing a shift in which the education projects, where in the daytime the chill water is diverted to the academic area and the night time it goes to residential area, that shift has begun. So it's happening.
And the
Not at the
last-
fast enough pace, but I like to see what is happening.
Last is, how has the design philosophy evolved or changed with COVID coming into the play? Has
If you
any
frankly
great-
ask me, the COVID is an outcome, or rather in the built environment, the COVID is an outcome of not following the codes and standards. Our codes and standards always talked about the fresh air. It always talked about good filtrations. And if you look at all the guidelines of the ISHRAE and ASHRAE, they talk about the same thing. Have good filtration, have UV systems or some sort of, basically good filtration and fresh air is what they talk about. If we had followed and look at the buildings, VRFs, window ACs, we kept doing all of that and forgot the fundamentals, and that's where we went wrong. All I did was whenever somebody came to me, I said, just go and follow the fundamentals. Your problem is solved. Obviously, I can't help you if I'm COVID and I'm sneezing in front of you. Of course, I can't help you that. But the airborne and all, most of it is taken care by following the fundamentals.
Thank you. Thank you very much.